The reunion. It was our college reunion, and I was watching my girlfriend of 3 years do body shots off her male best friend. A wave of whoops and hollers went through the crowd of our former classmates. Kiss, kiss, kiss. They chanted. Sophia and Julian stared deeply into each other's eyes, the air thick with unspoken things. My buddy Mark nudged me, his voice low. Liam, dude, that's your girlfriend. What the hell is going on? I didn't say a word. I just quietly refilled my glass of whiskey. Right as their lips were about to meet, I stood up and threw the contents of my glass in their faces. The room fell instantly, utterly silent. Sophia's face was a thundercloud, her eyes flashing with rage. Water and whiskey dripped from her chin. Her friend, Chloe, broke the silence with a saccharine-sweet voice. Oh my God, you guys, why do you have to push them? Look, you made Liam upset. Julian, her so-called best friend, looked wounded. Sophia, don't be mad. Liam must have just gotten jealous. He sighed dramatically. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have played along. Sophia's glare was fixed on me. Liam, what is your problem? Chloe rushed forward, pretending to hold her back. Come on, Sophia, let it go. I'm sure Liam didn't mean it. Sophia shoved her away. The hell he didn't. She stalked toward me, her posture radiating arrogance. Are you trying to make a scene, Liam? Is that fun for you? My best friend gave up an amazing job offer overseas just to come back and help me with my company. We were just having some fun. Do you have to be so damn dramatic? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Dramatic? You told me you weren't coming home last night because Julian was sick and you had to take care of him. Now you're all over each other in front of our entire graduating class. And you have the nerve to ask if I'm being dramatic? What's next? Should I book a hotel room for you too? Blazing with fury, Sophia swung at me. I dodged it easily. She tried again, but Chloe managed to grab her arm. Have I been too nice to you, Liam? Who do you think you are talking to me like that? Mark stepped in, trying to de-escalate. Hey, Liam, come on, man. Not here. Everyone's watching. Julian walked over, the picture of fake sincerity. Liam, we're all friends here. Don't ruin the vibe. If you're going to be mad at someone, be mad at me. It was all my fault. Sophia grabbed his hand, her voice softening instantly. Julian, how could this be your fault? It's obviously Liam being childish. She turned back to me, her eyes as cold as ice. Liam, don't say I didn't give you a chance. You're going to walk over here, get on your knees, and apologize to Julian. Then, I'll pretend this never happened. I pointed a finger at Julian, my voice dripping with contempt. Me apologize to him? Does he even deserve it? The entire room gasped. Ever since college, everyone knew I was Sophia's doormat. I came when she called, did everything to please her, and debased myself completely for her affection. Whispers started rippling through the crowd. What's gotten into Liam tonight? I've never heard him talk to Sophia like that. Another voice chimed in. Maybe he finally snapped. Being her lapdog for all these years must have been humiliating. Remember right after graduation? To prove his love for her, he jumped into the Hudson River in the middle of winter. Almost drowned. Yeah, I heard he was in the hospital for a week after that. Mark my words, he's just throwing a tantrum. Sophia will say a few sweet things, and he'll go right back to being her little puppy. My defiance seemed to push Sophia over the edge. Her face twisted in rage. I only kept you around because you were so pathetically devoted to me. Did you really think you were something special? All I'm asking is for you to apologize to Julian, and you dare to be so insolent. Without me, Liam, you are nothing. If you don't get on your knees and apologize right now, we're done. In the past, the mere mention of a breakup would have sent me into a panic. I'd be filled with anxiety, apologizing profusely regardless of whose fault it was, doing anything to win her back. But now, I was just empty, completely disillusioned. When your heart truly gives up on someone, nothing they do matters anymore. Fine, let's break up. I hope you don't regret this. With that, I turned and walked out of the room without a second glance. Sophia was trembling with fury. She pointed a shaking finger at my back. You'll be the one to regret this, Liam. Don't come crawling back to me, because it won't work. Chloe nervously asked, Sophia, maybe we went too far? Liam was your boyfriend, after all. Sophia scoffed. He's just a stray I took in. He's just throwing a tantrum. I'll bet you anything. I can count to 3, and he'll come running back like a dog. begging for my forgiveness. The entire room watched the door with morbid curiosity. She counted to 3. I didn't come back. All eyes shifted to Sophia. Her face went pale, then red. She never imagined that the man who had always been to her would actually refuse to back down. She tried to save face, forcing a cold laugh. He probably just went to the bathroom. He'll be back. But the slight tremble in her voice betrayed the panic rising within her. Julian quickly tried to smooth things over. All right, everyone, let's get back to the party. More drinks. The atmosphere slowly returned to a dull roar. I stepped outside the restaurant, pulled out my phone, and made a call. Starting tomorrow, terminate all partnerships and contracts with Evans Industries. My name is Liam Carter. I'm from the Carter family, one of New York's founding dynasties. I'm the only son of William Carter, the current head of the family. My father, one of the wealthiest men in the city, has a philosophy: raise daughters with riches, raise sons with hardship. So, throughout school, my allowance was laughably small. Not a single one of my classmates knew who I really was. After college graduation, to help Sophia achieve her dreams, I hid my identity as the heir to the Carter Corporation and moved to her city. I secretly propped up her failing family business, Evans Industries, and helped turn her into a rising star in the business world. But as soon as she became successful, everything changed. She grew selfish and cruel. After her best friend, Julian Vance, returned from overseas, she was with him constantly. I had lost all hope for us. Sophia, I muttered to myself, without my help these past few years, what would you even be? As I reached the street, a limited edition Bentley pulled up to the curb. A woman more stunning than any Hollywood actress stepped out. When she saw me, her face lit up, and she immediately linked her arm with mine. Liam, what are you doing out here? I almost didn't recognize you. I saw right through her act. My mother told you where I was, didn't she? I was wondering why she called me an hour ago and then didn't say anything. Now I get it. This was Isabella Rossi, the premier socialite of Manhattan's elite. Her mother and my mother are best friends. Isabella grew up in New York, right next door to me. We were childhood friends, practically inseparable until she went to college out of state. We were supposed to be married. Our families had arranged it years ago. The wedding was planned for right after my graduation. But I refused because I was chasing Sophia. Isabella was heartbroken. She got seriously ill. I felt guilty about it ever since. Looking at the elegant, sophisticated, and genuinely kind Isabella, and comparing her to the vulgar and selfish woman Sophia had become, I felt like the world's biggest fool. Isabella wrinkled her perfect nose at my accusation. Can't a girl just miss you and want to come see you? She pouted. Besides, you never officially called off our engagement 3 years ago. I certainly never agreed to it. So, technically you're still my fiancée. As she spoke, she hugged my arm even tighter. Isabella was so breathtakingly beautiful that people on the street were stopping to stare. I could feel the softness of her arm pressed against mine and shifted uncomfortably. Izzy, you're the Rossi heiress. Aren't you worried about causing a scene? Clinging to me like this? She pursed her ruby lips. Oh, please. In front of you, Liam, I'm not some heiress. And let's be real, the Rossi family's fortune can't compare to the Carters. Your father was just telling everyone he's aiming to be the richest man in America this year. While the Rossi family might not have the sheer financial might of the Carters, their influence in other sectors was something my family couldn't match. Isabella looked at me playfully. So, Liam, why are you standing out here all alone? Did that girlfriend of yours kick you out again? Liam, Sophia Evans is not worthy of you. Only I, Isabella Rossi, have the right to be your wife. At that moment, I couldn't help but marvel at how right my father had been. 3 years ago, when I refused to marry Isabella, my father was furious. He warned me then that Sophia was selfish, short-sighted, and completely wrong for me. He gave me a 3-year ultimatum. For 3 years, I was forbidden from revealing my true identity to Sophia. After 3 years, if I still insisted on marrying her, he wouldn't stand in my way. He would allow her into the Carter family. But if, after 3 years, I came to my senses, I would have to honor my commitment and marry Isabella. Seeing my silence, Isabella's expression grew anxious. Liam, I've waited for you for 3 years. Are you really going to reject me again? I reached out and gently stroked her hair. Izzy, I'm so sorry for what I put you through. In 1 month, let's get married. Her eyes instantly filled with tears of joy. She looked at me in disbelief, her voice trembling. Liam, are you serious? I smiled and nodded. Seeing her overwhelming joy, my heart ached with guilt. She threw herself into my arms, holding me so tightly it felt like she was afraid I would vanish. I've waited for this day for so long, Liam. I'm so happy. The next day, I went to Evans Industries. I was in my office, packing up a few important personal items. Julian Vance walked in, a smug, arrogant look on his face. With Sophia not around, he dropped the friendly act entirely. Liam, Sophia didn't come home again last night. Guess who she was with? When I didn't respond, his smirk tightened. Well, if it isn't Sophia's discarded doormat. I'm surprised you have the nerve to show your face here. You got a thick skin, I'll give you that. I stopped what I was doing, turned, and slapped him hard across the face. I stared at him, my eyes narrowed. Who the hell do you think you are? Trying to provoke me? Half of Julian's face immediately swelled up, turning a blotchy red. He was completely stunned. He never expected me to get physical. Just then, Sophia rushed in, immediately shielding Julian and yelling at me. Liam, have you lost your mind? You can't just attack people. You get on your knees and apologize to Julian right now. I looked at Sophia, who was hovering over Julian like a protective mother lion, and felt nothing but contempt. Make me kneel and apologize to him? Does he deserve it? I met my share of manipulative women, but a manipulative man? That's a new one. Sophia was shaking with rage. She pointed at me, her voice so sharp it could cut glass. Liam, don't push me. What did Julian ever do to you? He says a few words to you, and you resort to violence. How are you any different from some common thug? I am beyond angry. Get on your knees and apologize to Julian this instant. I looked at her, a cold smile on my face. And if I don't? Her eyes were murderous. If you don't, then get the hell out of my company without Evans Industries. What do you think you are, Liam? Nothing. I couldn't help but laugh. Sophia, what makes you think I even want to stay at Evans Industries? This tiny, pathetic company? It's beneath my notice. Sophia was so furious she was speechless. I picked up my box of personal effects and turned to leave. Julian blocked my path, putting on his victim act. Liam, don't say things you don't mean. I know you're still mad about last night. If you need to take it out on someone, hit me. Just don't make Sophia upset. I'd never heard such a ridiculous request in my life. Of course, I had to grant it. I raised my hand and slapped him again, several times. You asked for it. Then I drove my foot into his stomach. Julian crumpled to the ground, curling up like a shrimp. I was about to go in for a few more kicks when Sophia shoved me away. She helped Julian up, her eyes full of concern, then glared at me with pure hatred. She shrieked, Liam, you're a maniac. Who do you think you are? Apologize to Julian right now, and then get the hell out of my company. Julian curled up in her arms, moaning weakly. Sophia, it's all my fault. I looked at the pathetic pair with cold indifference. I'm just collecting some interest up front. We have a lot more to settle between us. By now, a crowd of employees had gathered outside my office, eager to watch the drama unfold. Sophia's secretary pushed her way through the onlookers, her face pale with panic. Ms. Evans, all of our partner companies called this morning. They're all terminating their contracts. And Mr. Lee from Sterling Stone and Mr. Davis from Apex Consolidated are demanding immediate payment of all outstanding invoices. They're also demanding compensation for breach of contract. They're both in the conference room waiting for you right now. What? How is that possible? Why would this happen all of a sudden? The color drained from Sophia's face. Forgetting about me, she scrambled toward the conference room. Julian quickly followed her. I wasn't about to miss this show. I didn't go in the conference room. Instead, I had the secretary bring me a chair, and I sat right outside the door to listen. Mr. Lee was the first to explode. Sophia, I don't care what you have to say today. The partnership is over. Settle the accounts you owe Sterling Stone immediately. Every last cent. Facing two grim-faced executives, Sophia forced a smile. Gentlemen, we've always had such a wonderful partnership. Why the sudden decision to terminate our agreements? Besides, Evans Industries is on a major upswing. We're a strong, stable company. Terminating now would be a loss for you as well, wouldn't it? Mr. Davis from Apex scoffed. Strong and stable. Sophia, you are unbelievably arrogant. These last few years, if it wasn't for Mr. Carter, do you really think you'd be worthy of partnering with us? Sophia's expression froze. Liam Carter? How could this have anything to do with Liam? Julian looked equally baffled, unable to connect the dots. Sophia looked at Mr. Davis with a mocking expression. Mr. Davis, you must be joking. Liam is a useless coward. Julian quickly chimed in. Exactly. You must be mistaken. Liam is just Ms. Evans's lapdog. How could he possibly command the respect of two esteemed executives like yourselves? Mr. Lee's face contorted with anger. He glared at Julian. And who are you? We're speaking with Ms. Evans. When did it become your turn to speak? Being yelled at by Mr. Lee, Julian's face flushed a deep red. Used to getting his way at the company because of his relationship with Sophia, he'd never been publicly reprimanded like this. But facing two of the city's most influential businessmen, he swallowed his pride and said nothing. Sophia quickly tried to smooth things over. Mr. Lee, this is Julian Vance. He just returned from pursuing advanced studies abroad. I was planning on having him take over Liam's position. Mr. Lee and Mr. Davis exchanged a look. They now looked at Sophia as if she were a complete idiot. Mr. Lee said contemptuously, I don't care who he is. Here's the bottom line. If Mr. Carter says we continue our partnership, we continue. Otherwise, the partnership is terminated, and all invoices are due today. You choose. Julian, ever the fool, spoke up again. Mr. Lee, if I recall correctly, Sterling Stone has a long-standing business relationship with the Sterling family in Manhattan. As it happens, I'm quite good friends with their son, Ryan Sterling. Perhaps you could do me a favor. Sitting outside, I almost burst out laughing. While the Sterlings, like the Rossis, were one of Manhattan's 4 great families, they were at the bottom of that list. The Rossi family was at the top. The Sterlings' power was considerably less. And this Ryan Sterling, he was the family's illegitimate son. He had absolutely no standing within the family. He was just a nobody who used the Sterling name to grift his way through the city. To bring up someone so insignificant in this situation was just pathetic. As expected, Mr. Lee exploded with rage. Who the hell do you think you are? And why on earth would I do you a favor? Julian's face turned ashen, but he didn't dare say another disrespectful word. Sophia tried again. Mr. Davis, Mr. Lee, please don't be angry. We can talk this through, right? Mr. Davis slammed his hand on the table. Don't give me that. If Mr. Carter isn't here today, this partnership is dead. Pay us what you owe now. Mr. Lee added, that's right. Unless we hear from Mr. Carter himself, our business with you is finished as of today. Julian couldn't help himself. You two must have it wrong. Liam is a total loser. The only reason Evans Industries has grown these past few years is because of Ms. Evans's hard work. Liam isn't even worthy of shining her shoes. Mr. Davis, a man with a famously short fuse, walked over and slapped Julian across the face. You shut your mouth. Do you think a piece of trash like you has the right to insult Mr. Carter? Mr. Lee pointed at him, equally furious. What is wrong with you? Insulting Mr. Carter like that. You clearly have a death wish. Having been hit twice in one day, Julian's anger finally boiled over. His face was bright red. Did I say anything wrong? We were in college together for years. I know exactly what kind of person he is. If Sophia hadn't taken pity on him and given him a job, a loser like him could never have become the general manager of a company like this. Pathetic. Hearing this, Mr. Davis and Mr. Lee lost all interest in continuing the conversation. Mr. Lee stared at Sophia. Ms. Evans, this is your new general manager? This is the kind of person you hire to speak ill of Mr. Carter? Mr. Davis nodded. It seems Evans Industries is beyond saving. Since you clearly have so little respect for Mr. Carter, there's nothing more to discuss. Our companies will no longer be doing business with you. If the funds aren't in our accounts by the end of the day, expect a summons from our lawyers. We're leaving. As Mr. Lee walked out, he pointed at Sophia and Julian. A pair of fools. The two of them stood frozen in the conference room, seething with impotent rage. As the two executives walked out of the conference room, they saw me sitting calmly outside. They both paused for a second, then immediately greeted me with the utmost respect. Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter. I didn't act superior. I stood up and warmly shook their hands. Sophia stormed out, her eyes blazing as she glared at me. Liam, what kind of games are you playing behind my back? Why are all of our partners suddenly terminating their contracts with me? Julian looked at me with disgust. Liam, I didn't realize you were such a despicable person. After Sophia poured her heart and soul into you, you stab her in the back like this. Are you even human? You're a shameless, backstabbing coward. Sophia was practically vibrating with rage. I have been way too good to you, Liam. I just smiled as I watched them both completely lose their composure. I turned to the two executives and said casually, So, you're terminating your partnership with Evans Industries? Mr. Davis was the first to answer. Yes, Mr. Carter. This company is run by short-sighted fools. They are not worthy of partnering with Apex Consolidated. Mr. Lee chimed in exactly. To be associated with people like these two would be an embarrassment to Sterling Stone. Mr. Carter, whether we continue our partnership with Evans Industries is really up to you. Just say the word, and we'll reinstate the contracts immediately. Yes, Mr. Carter, we'll do whatever you say. I held up my hands. Oh no, you can't listen to me. Ms. Evans already told me to get lost. Besides, we've broken up. What happens to her company is none of my business. The two executives immediately understood. In that case, Mr. Carter, we won't disturb you any further. We'll be on our way. Sophia panicked, pointing a finger at me. Liam, I don't care what kind of disgusting schemes you've cooked up. I'm giving you one last chance. Get them to reinstate the contracts right now. Then, you will apologize to me. Otherwise, don't ever expect my forgiveness. Looking at her arrogant, demanding expression, I found it almost funny. She still hadn't grasped the reality of the situation. She still thought she held all the power. I shook my head slowly, my voice quiet but firm. Sophia, you're as arrogant as ever. Why on earth would I do anything you say? Julian gritted his teeth. Liam, don't take it too far. You're just trying to get revenge on Sophia. It's pathetic. I let out a cold laugh. Pathetic? I took out my phone and showed Sophia the explicit photos Julian had been sending me for weeks. Sophia, take a good look. Who's the pathetic one here? This is your platonic best friend. You swore to me was completely innocent. You told me he was sick and you were just taking care of him. You told me if you were going to do anything with Julian, it would have happened years ago. Sophia, you make me sick. Sophia stared at the photos on my phone, her face draining of all color. Julian's face turned a sickly shade of pale. He looked frantically at Sophia, then glared at me. Liam, how dare you save those photos? That's an invasion of privacy. You're a scumbag, he yelled. I glanced at him, unimpressed. Invasion of privacy? Did you think about privacy when you were doing these disgusting things? You're the one who sent them to me, bragging about it. Did you forget? So tell me, who's the real scumbag here? Sophia finally found her voice, though it was laced with panic. Liam, it's not what it looks like. Those photos, it's all a misunderstanding. I cut her off. A misunderstanding? Then please explain it to me. Explain how you, half-dressed in his bed in the middle of the night, is a misunderstanding. For the first time, a flicker of guilt crossed her face. She tried to step closer. Liam, I know I was wrong. I'm so sorry. Please, just forgive me this one time. Please, ask them to reinstate the contracts. The company can't survive without them. I took a step back, avoiding her touch. Now you're begging. Where was this attitude before? When you were ordering me around, treating me like dirt without a shred of respect for my feelings. You only remember I exist when you're in trouble. The fate of Evans Industries has nothing to do with me. Didn't you say your best friend came back from overseas and was better than me in every way? Go ask him for help. Why are you begging me? With that, I put my phone away and turned to leave. Sophia tried to grab me, but Julian stopped her. Sophia, why are we afraid of him? He's just a pathetic loser. He thinks he can control you with these petty little games. He's delusional. So what if he's behind this? I'm good friends with Ryan Sterling from the Sterling family. Once we partner with the Sterlings, who would dare look down on Evans Industries? Besides, the Rossi family hasn't pulled their investment. If two of Manhattan's 4 great families are backing Evans Industries, Guys like Davis and Lee will come crawling back on their knees, begging for your forgiveness. Hearing this, Sophia's eyes lit up. Her confidence returned in an instant, and she dropped the apologetic act. Did you hear that, Liam? You're nothing but a loser I kept around for a few years. Did you really start to think you were somebody? I didn't bother listening to any more of her nonsense. I turned and walked away. Sophia screamed after me. Liam, if you take one step out of this building, you can forget about me ever looking at you again, even if you come begging on your hands and knees. Over the next week, with its partnerships gone, Evans Industries was in freefall. Suppliers lined up at the door, demanding payment. The company was teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. The only reason it hadn't collapsed entirely was that the Rossi family hadn't pulled its funding. Isabella had invested in Evans Industries on her own, not at my request. When I'd asked her about it, she said that if Sophia ever treated me poorly, she'd have the leverage to bring her to heel. That week, Alexander Sterling, the true heir of the Sterling family, was having a birthday party. He invited me to attend. The party was being held at Manhattan's most exclusive private club. When I arrived, the street outside was lined with supercars. Inside, the club was buzzing with energy. Everywhere I looked, I saw the immaculately dressed sons and daughters of the city's elite. Aside from the heirs of the four great families, I didn't know many people. I'd been to this club once before with Alexander, and had briefly met the manager. I wondered if he'd remember me. Isabella had told me she was coming, but I couldn't see her or Alexander anywhere. I must have been early. Just then I saw them, Sophia and Julian. When they spotted me, a look of pure mockery crossed their faces, and they quickly walked over. Sophia stopped in front of me and sneered. Liam, we're broken up. I can't believe you followed me here. How long are you going to keep harassing me? She raised her voice deliberately, clearly trying to embarrass me. With her company on the verge of collapse, she must have been harboring a deep resentment for me. I replied coldly, Sophia, you really think the world revolves around you? I must have been blind to ever fall for someone like you. Sophia's face darkened, her eyes flashing with malice. She gritted her teeth. Liam, you're nothing but a pathetic freeloader. This is one of the most exclusive clubs in New York. Do you really think a loser like you belongs here? Julian chimed in with a sarcastic tone. What's going on? It's Alexander Sterling's birthday. How did they let the riff-raff in? I smiled faintly. If a con artist like you can get in, why can't I? I'd had Julian investigated over the past week. He hadn't been pursuing advanced studies abroad. He'd spent the last few years scamming people, seducing them for their money. When he was finally found out, he couldn't stay in Europe any longer and had to come back to the States. Not only that, the man had contracted HIV. I hadn't touched Sophia since Julian came back into the picture. If I had, I would have been caught in his disgusting web. Just to be safe, I'd gone to the hospital a few days ago for a full screening. Thankfully, my health was perfect. The party hadn't officially started yet, but our confrontation had drawn the attention of nearly every guest in the room. People started whispering amongst themselves, their eyes darting between the three of us. Julian's face contorted with rage. Liam, don't you dare spread lies about me, he hissed. I just laughed. His frantic denial was practically an admission of guilt. Relax, Julian. It was just a random comment. Why are you so defensive? Julian's eyes shifted nervously, and his voice dropped. I'm not defensive. You're slandering me. At that moment, a young man with a refined look and glasses walked over. Julian's eyes lit up when he saw him. He rushed forward, eager to curry favor. Ryan, you have to get this shameless loser out of here. The guy is a total freeloader, a complete nobody. What right does he have to be at your brother's party? Ryan Sterling's gaze fell on me, cold and hostile. He pushed his glasses up the bridge of his nose, his eyes appraising me from behind the lenses. Who are you? And what gives you the right to be in my brother's birthday party? How did you get in here? I looked at him, my expression unreadable. Ryan, you're an illegitimate son. What right do you have to speak to me like that? A wave of shock rippled through the room. Not many people knew about Ryan's true parentage. He often used the Sterling family name to throw his weight around, and as long as he didn't go too far, the family let it slide. The true heir, Alexander Sterling, was a very private person and rarely made public appearances. It was Ryan, the illegitimate son, who was always seeking the spotlight, causing no end of trouble for the family. A few people in the room who knew the Sterling situation looked at me with newfound interest. Being exposed so publicly, Ryan was livid. What did you just say? Who's an illegitimate son? I smiled at him. I was talking about you. What's the matter, Ryan? Afraid to admit it. Sophia chose that moment to step forward and declare loudly. That's enough. Liam, how dare you call Mr. Sterling an illegitimate son? Who do you think you are? You must have a death wish. Get on your knees and apologize right now, or I'll make sure you can never show your face in this city again. I scoffed. He's just an illegitimate son. If he's as powerful as you think, why don't you ask him to save Evans Industries? I'm sure with a man of his stature, resolving your little crisis would be child's play, right? Sophia's expression faltered. She and Julian had been begging Ryan for help for days. For some reason, Ryan had agreed in principle, but had taken no actual steps to help them. At this rate, Evans Industries wouldn't last another week. The reason she and Julian had come to Alexander's party with expensive gifts was to try and forge a connection with a real power in the Sterling family and save her company. Though she was losing her nerve, Sophia put on a brave face. Of course he's helping, with Mr. Sterling on our side. Do you really think your petty little tricks will work? She glared at me, her face a mask of cold fury. Liam, get on your knees and apologize to Mr. Sterling now. I laughed out loud. It would be more appropriate for an illegitimate son to kneel to me. Ryan couldn't take it anymore. He shouted at the club manager, Mr. Huang, get security in here and throw this loser out. A middle-aged man in a sharp suit walked forward. He looked at Ryan and said respectfully, Young Master Ryan, Mr. Carter is an honored guest of young Master Alexander. We would not dare to offend him. The manager's meaning was clear. He couldn't afford to offend me, so he had no choice but to offend the lesser, young master. The color drained from Ryan's face. The other guests began to murmur, speculating about who I really was. I picked up a glass of red wine and looked at Sophia. Sophia, with Evans Industries about to go under, you still have time for parties? The only thing keeping you afloat is the Rossi family's investment. The second they pull out, your company will be bankrupt within days. Sophia laughed as if I'd told the funniest joke in the world. Liam, you are so delusional. Our partnership with the Rossi family was personally approved by Isabella Rossi herself. Take a good look at yourself. You're a freeloader I supported for 3 years. A complete nobody. Are you trying to suggest you know Isabella Rossi? You're not even worthy of being in the same room as her. Julian added, Exactly. A loser like you isn't fit to shine her shoes. I smiled. Well, this is awkward. The Isabella Rossi you're talking about just happens to be my fiancée. We're getting married in less than a month. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the room erupted in laughter. It was as if I'd said the most absurd thing imaginable. Ha ha, Isabella Rossi's fiancé. Julian was bent over, laughing, his eyes full of scorn. Ryan, still smarting from his earlier humiliation, joined in the laughter. Who argues with an idiot? Sophia sneered. Liam, you really have no idea what you're messing with. The Rossi family is the most powerful of the 4 great families. Isabella Rossi is in a different league. Everyone in New York knows how high her standards are. She's never even been seriously involved with anyone. Why would she ever look at a good-for-nothing freeloader like you? You're just a dog that I fed for a few years. The other guests joined in, their words dripping with disdain. He really thinks he can attach himself to the Rossi family? He should take a look in the mirror. Suddenly, a cold voice cut through the noise. I dare you to say that again, Sophia. It's true that Liam is my fiancé, and you are nothing. It was earth-shattering. Isabella Rossi, stunning in a red gown, made her entrance. The entire room was in shock. She walked with a confident, elegant stride, a blazing flame that captured everyone's attention. Sophia, Julian, and Ryan stood frozen, their mouths agape. How could Liam Carter really be Isabella Rossi's fiancé? The moment Isabella appeared, she became the center of the universe. Everyone was captivated by her breathtaking beauty and noble grace. After a moment of stunned silence, the guests began to murmur. What? Liam is really Isabella Rossi's fiancé. What is going on? Who is this Liam Carter, to have captured the heart of the untouchable Isabella Rossi? Isabella ignored them all. She walked straight to me and linked her arm through mine. Liam, "Don't I look beautiful today?" she asked, her voice playful. She wasn't just beautiful, she was otherworldly. How had I never noticed how stunning she was before? Her red dress revealed a pair of perfectly shaped, flawless legs that were almost blinding. I swallowed hard, and my unspoken admiration. Her eyes sparkled with joy. She twirled in front of me like a little girl who had just been praised, her skirt flaring out like a blooming flower. "As long as you like it, Liam." Her voice was soft and sweet. Then, Isabella released my arm. Her expression turned to ice as she walked toward Sophia. She raised her hand and slapped her across the face. The crisp sound echoed through the silent room. "Sophia, who gave you the nerve to insult my fiancée?" The sudden turn of events left Sophia pale and trembling. She clutched her red cheek, a flash of her usual defiance in her eyes, but she quickly suppressed it. "Miss Rossi, how is this possible? Liam is a useless nobody. How could you be with him? This has to be a misunderstanding." Another sharp slap was her only answer. Sophia was completely stunned. Her face was ashen, and she didn't dare say another disrespectful word about me. Isabella's gaze was like a knife. "Sophia, if you ever disrespect Liam again, I will personally ensure you have no future left in the city. You are nothing but an ignorant fool. You have no idea who Liam really is, and you are not in a position to judge him. Your family isn't worthy of even being mentioned in the same breath as him." Sophia finally understood. The gap in status between her and Isabella Rossi was the difference between the heavens and the earth. She stammered, "Miss Rossi, I was wrong. I'll never do it again. Please, I'm begging you, don't cancel the partnership with Evans Industries." Ryan and Julian were completely dumbfounded, not daring to utter a single word. Isabella laughed coldly. "After how you treated my fiancée, you still expect to do business with my family? Sophia, are you still dreaming?" Sophia stood frozen. She knew it was over. The Rossi family pulling their investment will be the final nail in her company's coffin. I spoke up, my voice even. "Sophia, for the sake of our past, I won't completely destroy you. Weren't you relying on Ryan Sterling? If he really has the ability to help you, I won't stand in your way. How about that?" Hearing my words, Sophia snapped out of her daze. She grabbed onto Ryan, her eyes filled with desperation. "Ryan, you promised Julian and me that you would help, right? Ryan might be an illegitimate son, but he wasn't an idiot. Even if he had the ability to save Sophia, which he didn't, he wouldn't dare to now. Helping Sophia would be a direct slap in the face to me and Isabella Rossi. He wasn't stupid enough to offend Isabella for Sophia's sake. And besides, even a fool could figure out that the man Isabella Rossi chose as her fiancé was no useless nobody." Ryan shoved Sophia away. When did I ever promise you that? I was just joking." Sophia stumbled backward, nearly falling. She looked at Ryan in disbelief, her eyes filled with rage and despair. "Ryan, you swore to me you would help. You said one phone call could solve all of my company's problems. How can you go back on your word?" Julian stepped forward, his voice demanding. "Ryan, if you don't help us, we'll tell everyone about your dirty little secrets." Ryan's face changed. He forcefully broke free from Julian's grip. "You dare," he snarled. "You think I'm afraid of you? You two are the ones who offended Mr. Carter and Miss Rossi. You expect me to go down with you?" Julian and Sophia stood as if struck by lightning. I had to hide a smirk. Ryan was no saint himself. He and Julian had lived decadent lives overseas. They had even been members of the same HIV-positive club. It was truly a case of dogs eating dogs. Ryan turned to leave. I spoke calmly. "Ryan, did I say you could go?" Hearing my voice, Ryan froze. He turned back slowly, a hint of anger on his face. Mr. Carter, what more do you want?" "I don't want anything, but I can't speak for your brother." Just then, I saw him, Alexander Sterling, the true heir, walking in with the heirs of the other two great families. The three of them came over to greet Isabella and me. I smiled at Alexander. "Alex, a moment ago, this illegitimate brother of yours was threatening to have me thrown out. This is your family's business, so I won't interfere. I'll let you handle it." Over 70% of the Sterling family's business in New York came from my family's Carter Corporation. Alexander would never risk offending the heir to the Carter Corporation for the sake of an illegitimate half-brother. When I said I'd let him handle it, He knew he had to satisfy me. Alexander's cheerful expression instantly turned dark. Ryan, you worthless piece of trash. I'll let you get away with your usual nonsense. But how dare you cause trouble for Mr. Carter? Do you have a death wish? Alexander strode over, slapped Ryan, and then kicked him hard in the stomach. He didn't hold back. Each punch and kick landed with a sickening thud. Ryan's screams filled the air. The other guests watched in stunned silence. Sophia and Julian's faces were white as sheets. Even they could now grasp that my identity was far more significant than they had ever imagined. Ryan was like a mouse before a cat in front of Alexander. He didn't even try to fight back. He just kept begging. Brother, I was wrong. I really was. Please let me go. His pleas only seemed to enrage Alexander further. Who's your brother? You're an illegitimate son. If I didn't take pity on you, do you think you'd even be allowed in the Sterling family? How much trouble have you caused me over the years? Soon, Ryan's face was swollen like a pig's. Alexander dragged him over to me like a sack of garbage. Kneel, Alexander commanded. Ryan immediately dropped to his knees. Mr. Carter, I was blind. Please forgive me. I know I was wrong. He knocked his head on the floor repeatedly. Things had escalated to this point, and it wouldn't look good for me to push it further, especially at Alexander's birthday party. Alex, that's enough. He didn't know who I was. At that moment, Sophia finally understood everything. Isabella Rossi and Alexander Sterling deferred to me. The key to saving her company from ruin was me. Regret, sharp and bitter, flooded through her. How could she have been so blind? The man she had looked down on, the useless Liam, held the power of life and death over her company. Her expression shifted rapidly. The situation was hopeless. Finally, with a sharp intake of breath, she also knelt. Liam, she cried, tears streaming down her face. I was a fool all these years. I humiliated you. I treated you horribly, and I was wrong. Please, for the sake of everything we once had, save my family's company. I'll do anything you ask, anything. If I had seen Sophia in such a pitiful state before, my heart would have broken. But now all I felt was disgust. When I didn't answer, she continued. Liam, you know I love you. I can't live without you. I really know I was wrong. You said you would love me forever. I just made a mistake that any woman could make. I'll never do it again. She reached out to grab the hem of my pants. I kicked her hand away. I don't want something that's been tainted. Get lost. Sophia's face went completely white. She collapsed onto the floor, utterly defeated. Suddenly, a woman burst into the room, screaming like a mad person. The moment she saw Julian, she lunged at him, trying to claw his eyes out. Security guards wrestled her to the ground. Julian Vance, you're not human. You ruined my life. You gave me HIV. I'm going to kill you. The guests gasped in horror, backing away from the scene. The manager quickly had his staff create a barrier, separating Julian and the hysterical woman from the crowd. Only then did the guests seem to breathe again. Sophia was frozen in shock. When the woman's words finally registered, she began to tremble uncontrollably. Julian has HIV. How could this be? How could this be? Julian pointed at the woman and began to laugh, a wild, unhinged sound. Ha ha, you're the one who said you loved me. Shouldn't loving someone mean accepting all of them? I didn't force you. Was all that talk about loving me a lie? You're a monster, Julian Vance, the woman shrieked. You will rot in hell. I'll haunt you from beyond the grave. Sophia's face twisted in fury. She grabbed the front of Julian's shirt, her eyes bloodshot, and screamed hysterically, Julian, you bastard. You have HIV, and you kept it from me. How could you do this to me? Julian, still in her grasp, looked completely unfazed. He sneered, Sophia, stop acting so innocent. Weren't you right there with me? Laughing at Liam? Aren't you throwing your weight around just a minute ago? This is karma. None of us gets a happy ending. Hearing this, Sophia trembled with rage and slapped him hard across the face. It's all your fault. You ruined my life, you son of a bitch. Alexander Sterling frowned, a look of disgust on his face. He gestured to the security guards. Get these people out of here. Don't let them ruin the party or bring their filth into my club. The guards immediately moved in, forcibly dragging Julian, Sophia, and the hysterical woman out. Julian was still shouting as they dragged him away. Don't act so high and mighty. You're all the same, a bunch of hypocrites. Sophia was sobbing and cursing Julian's name. The other woman's eyes were full of despair and hatred, fixed on Julian as if she wanted to tear him apart. As the three of them were removed, a tense quiet fell over the room. But the scene had left everyone deeply unsettled. After that, the party was effectively over. Alexander had to change venues, booking out a bar for the remaining guests who wanted to drink. A month later, Isabella and I had a wedding that was the talk of the decade. Our union sent shockwaves through the business world. My identity as the sole heir to the Carter Corporation was revealed online, and the news went viral. On our wedding day, the Carter Corporation's stock skyrocketed, hitting record highs. This surge helped my father, William Carter, finally claim the title of the richest man in America. As for Evans Industries, it went bankrupt within a month, buried under a mountain of debt. After learning my true identity, Sophia called me once. All she said was, "I'm sorry," before hanging up. I had a bad feeling about it. Sure enough, the next time I heard her name was on the news. She had found Julian and stabbed him through the heart. Sophia was sentenced to life in prison for first-degree murder. My life with Isabella was blissful. A year after our wedding, she gave birth to a beautiful pair of fraternal twins. 5 years later, I officially took over the entire Carter business empire. The next time I heard news of Sophia, it was that she had died in prison from illness. The end.